I'm SHRABANTI. I was a MTech student in IIT Topar and I did my master's thesis under the supervision of Harpreet sir. So currently I'm working in GE Varnava as an Edison engineer and I'm really glad to be here in NTSC 2025 and I obviously welcome you. So we have Professor Tanvir Hussain from University of Nottingham. So what you sir? How you are feeling to be in India again after ATSC 2023 and in NTSC 2025. So yeah.
Thanks very much, Shrabanti. Thanks very much for your question and thanks very much for the introduction. It's amazing to be back after the first NTSC. The first NTSC 2 years ago was the first time I came to India, and I think I was probably one of the 3 foreign guests to NTSC those days.
Amazing.
This time you have nearly 30 people from outside,
Exactly.
300 people attending. The quality of talks have improved so much, and you have got all the leading institutes from IITs, from north to the south, east to the west. Everyone is here. They are presenting their work. It has been amazing to see it grow, and I think and one thing that has changed for us, personally for me, is after coming to NTSC the first time, we have recruited a lot more from the Indian institutions. So a lot of graduates who have never left India, they are now coming and working for us at the University of Nottingham in the UK. And I really enjoy talking to the young people and understanding what their passion is, what they think of the future of thermal spray. And a lot of them challenge us in the way we do things, which is really great because status quo is never okay. For a field to survive, you need the young people to come and tell you how to do things differently. That's the highlight, and I love coming back to India, as you can imagine. And I've never been to Bhubaneswar. It's a fantastic city, the weather is really good, and the people, amazing.
Exactly, and I just believe this is the first time for me also in Bhubaneswar.
Wow.
And I just can say the organizers has greatly just organized this big conference, and I'm really glad to be a part of it. So I have some few questions for you.
Go on
Like
then.
you have just said, you have taken a lot of students from India after you coming to India. So what are the major impacts you want to tell about the students? What the best of quality you have got from them? And what are the things you can just highlight so that the academic and the industry, there is a always gap. So how can this thing also get reduced and the student will get an exposure to the industrial overview too?
That's a very good question. I think there are several parts to it. So we obviously recruit at the University of Nottingham, especially in my group, PhD students who have finished a master's from here,
Yeah.
or we also recruit postdoctoral staff who have done their PhDs. So I can talk about the postdoctoral staff. Some come to us to be an academic, and many come to us because we are so applied with industry and water industry problems. They wanna do few years of postdoctoral research and then go and work in industry.
Yeah.
So in that sense, a lot of our postdoctoral projects have got industrial partners. Some of them have got 7 to 10 partners. In some cases, we've got 1 or 2. So it kind of works quite nicely. But you're talking about recruitment. One thing I realized that there is a wide variety of skills that you have in this country in terms of material science, mechanical engineering, thermal spray. One of the key things I would say is everyone needs to have a think about, because people growing up in Indian education system has been trained in a certain way.
Yeah.
And if someone has gone to a university in the Western world, they have trained in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
There is no good or bad way, they're different. So you need 2 of those systems to be able to merge, and we are looking for people who can adapt to new ways of working and make the most out of it. So it's the interview skills becomes quite an important thing. Majority of the applicants, I think their CV is great. They have got the right research experience, the publication, impact. But what makes a big difference is how they think and how they present an interview.
Yeah.
So because the interviews are essentially 30 minutes or 40 minutes of trying to understand how people think. And that has been, so if I could give any advice to anyone, I would say go and have a think about, talk to other colleagues who have been interviewed by the universities overseas, what was their experience, either successful or unsuccessful, and learn from that. maybe sometimes we can run some interview skill sessions.
Yeah.
And a lot of the PhDs as well, they are very good about their science and the work they have done. Same with the master students, they can talk about technical stuff very well.
Yeah.
But when you're recruiting someone, it's not just technical stuff you're looking for. You're looking for, will this person fit in? Will this person be able to deliver? Will this person grow? Will this person be a positive addition to the activities?
Yeah.
So it's those non-academic skills I think would be worthwhile have a think about for the students.
Sure, sir. And obviously, I also agree with you. When, from my personal experience, I would also have noticed that when I was interviewing for my company, I was technically sound, maybe. And by the time they are also looking for the HR rounds and managerial rounds are also there, they will just check for the smartness and the present, how you are presenting your work. That is also a key aspects they will always looking for. So I absolutely agree with you, and I feel we all needs to also work on it. So I have another question. So in industry and in research also, we always heard two terms. One is research paper, one is patent. So from your perspective, how can you just give some insight on it? Which can be better or both are similar?
That's a tricky one because life is not black and white.
Yeah.
And these are outputs. So there is no one is better than the other or different things. I think it depends on the opportunity. So I can give you the examples of the postdoctoral staff we have recruited in the last 2 years and how they're doing. So the postdoctoral staff, when they come to us, if they want to be an academic,
Yeah.
they want to drive more on the publication, the journal paper publication, because that's one of their currency or their output, because some of these are more rigorous scientific contribution. But then we also have got postdoctoral staff who wants to go and work in industry. One of our close partners is Rolls-Royce, they're 30 minutes
Yeah.
away. And working with them, a lot of them generate a lot of patent applications.
Yes.
And the collaborators will actually file them on our behalf.
Yes.
So many of them ended up with patents as well. So you end up with a portfolio of some patents and some publication. And then you essentially, when you work in a university, you're essentially upskilling yourself. You
Yeah.
don't know where you're going to end.
Exactly.
All you're doing is making the most out of it and see how they add value.
Yeah.
So I think they're two different things. Some people get really excited by our field because it has got application.
Yeah.
That tends to more patent type or a product or something which can be used in real life. And some people get excited by the science underneath the engineering,
Yeah.
why it works the way it works.
Exactly.
So they are driven by slightly different. And I think we are broad enough field that we can accommodate the whole range.
Yeah. So from my side, one last question, sir. So as we know that day by day we are developing different type of thermospray, from HVOA, plasma, flame, and now going on for the cold spray. So what is your overall view on the developing of different types of thermal spray coatings, ending with cold spray? And I know that you are a master of cold spray. So what is your overall view of the thermal spray processes going in India and also in the worldwide, in respect of industry as well as for the academia?
I can probably talk about the industry first on that question, because at the end, training people, they need to be employed. So they either go to work in small and medium enterprises or big businesses, or they could be entrepreneurs. So when someone is getting trained, they need to create opportunities.
Exactly.
So and I think there are two types of technologies. One type of technology is, there are well-established techniques out there. There will always be engineers and thermal sprayers and cold sprayer needed
Exactly.
to optimize them, to make them the best coating possible and have a lot more application. So if you train them on those conventional
Yeah.
torches and conventional techniques and the powders, they will always be needed in the industry because there are jobs there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if someone comes up with a groundbreaking technology or a torch
Yeah.
which can transform the way we do things, axial plasma spray is one of them.
Yeah.
It was a university spin out. Technar, or a lot of these things are also university spin outs. So when you have got a game-changing technique or a game-changing torch or an ethanol spray, for example, as opposed to oxygen, you can then set up a new business
Hmm.
and actually start running business, and it becomes profitable within a certain number of years.
Yeah.
But it's very hard for a new technology to be taken uniformly by the entire world. But the other thing is, there's a national element and an international element.
Mhm.
What I don't think people have realized quite well how big the Indian economy is for spray coatings.
Exactly.
So you will find a lot more application for new powder, new torches, new processes here than some of the stuff in the West where things are a lot more conservative.
Yeah.
For an aerospace industry, it takes 5 to 10 years for something to actually go into an engine and fly.
Exactly.
Okay, whereas I have seen some examples in the defense sector where here, a new powder to a demonstrator took less than a year. So it's not just one example, there's a lot more opportunities here, I think. And I think we just need to be able to use those opportunities in fuel cell, in membranes, and catalytic converters, functional coatings.
Yes.
Thermal spray, cold spray is not just about wear, corrosion, repair,
Exactly.
and thermal barrier. There is this whole new world which can be utilized better in an economy like India.
Exactly. And I guess you have just given very good overall information of the thermal spray, how it is growing up day by day. And obviously in India, I guess the thermal spray is quite a new perspective in India. But after also I got into this field, I also understood this is the most interesting field I have ever maybe ever searched for. And I feel like the more these kind of conferences are also happening, it is also like encouraging the young delegates, young minds to have some more research and to go deep into the coating world. And maybe this is how me and like me, there are many people who is getting encouraged and coming into this field.
Fantastic. But that's a very good point. So if you took at all the thermal spray, cold spray conferences we have in the world,
Yeah.
the one in North America, the one in Canada, the one in Asia, anything, the average age of NTSC delegates are a lot lower than any of these conferences running for 40 years.
Hmm.
So that means because you have got so many IITs and NITs and ISCs and all these students, and they come and they are learning from each other and
Yeah.
also from the speakers.
Exactly.
So I think the buzz and the activity and the way it's growing here, this is unique to NTSC. And I think physically that's why you need to have this event going in India.
Exactly.
Because I doubted all of these young students that there is a financial cost to travel. I don't think
Yeah.
they will travel to somewhere else for 3 days and spend
They
a few
can't.
£1,000. They can't.
They can't.
So I think NTSC fulfills a key role in that case. Because
agree.
otherwise we'll keep doing the same thing the same way if the new people don't come and tell us how to do things differently.
Exactly. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, sir, I'd like to know, in next 5 years, how you want to see thermal spray in India.
I wish I had a magic mirror to say that. The simple way, if nothing changes, you could look at how things have grown in the last 5 years in India. And the first NTSC was 2 years ago.
2 years ago only.
And can you imagine how things were even before that 3 years ago? So how much things have catalyzed in 5 years?
Yeah.
How many new universities came in? How many new students, researchers they have joined? And how many new small companies starting to engage?
Yeah.
If nothing changes and there is no big disaster like an economic downturn or anything, linearly it will still continue to grow. But my sort of expectation, seeing last NTSC and this NTSC, I think it will be an exponential growth. So you will see a lot more academia-wise, a lot more PhD researchers and master students coming in. You will hopefully see some of them, because once they graduate, they will want to do some of their own companies and start up their
Yeah.
own business.
Exactly.
And there's a lot more activity going in the material science of making new powder.
Yeah.
We've seen some examples of making porous foams and things like that.
Exactly.
So I think we will see a lot more new applications emerging. Um, Big markets, they are a little bit slow to come, like an application of, let's say, thermal barrier coating, where it goes everywhere. I think big applications will take a little bit of time, but a lot of the small scale application, bespoke application, I think you're going to see a massive growth in 5 years' time. So we're talking about 2030.
Yeah.
And a lot of countries have got target for 2030 of what they want to do in terms of mineral in terms of their net zero, their CO2 emission. I think we're going to see a drastic growth, and I would like to see a lot more Indian companies who are expert in equipment modification, equipment manufacturing, powder manufacturing, as well as application, because we can't wait for others to take the technology to an application. So I think the future is wonderful. Future is very bright.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving such an insight to the youngsters as well as to the 5 years in coming 5 years the thermal spray. And I guess this is the time where we should also start thinking about in a new way for, as you said, developing the new coating technologies or new powders and connecting to the industry and academia. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. We'll see you in next NTSC again.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure for me as well, because I get all the input and get to hear all the perspective from all the newcomers like you, and see how your career is going from academia now at industry, and look forward to seeing what else you guys do in many years to come. Thank you.
It's all your blessings, and we all are always inspired by you and like yours, some other leaders and speakers and professors.
Thank you very much, but don't underestimate, we get our inspiration from the young generation as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.